I like it. It keeps me busy. It feels pretty satisfying to know that at the end of each day I've made Sydney Road look a little better for everyone who lives, works and visits here. Cleaner streets make it a nicer place to shop too, and that helps our local traders. And as everyone starts their day and the shop's open, I get to meet some lovely community members and their dogs. Everyone knows Sydney Road is legendary. We should all show it some love.
Libraries are the heart of our community. They connect us, inspire us, and support lifelong learning.
Whether it's borrowing books, thank you,
learning how to use computers,
getting creative in our makerspaces,
or simply having a welcoming space to belong, the library is the place to be.
We're always evolving our spaces, collections and services to meet the diverse needs of our wonderful community.
I love my library. It's a safe place to be, it's inclusive. I always find something new that interests me. It's not just a place for books anymore.
A library has something for people of all ages.
And is a place of discovery, events and learning at every stage of life.
It's your library. Visit us today.
Did you know that Merri-bek is home to a diverse community where more than 95 languages are spoken? That's why we offer information on council services in your language. If you received a rates notice that you don't understand, would like to request a new bin, or have another question for council, we can help. We have free in-person and phone interpreters who can help you communicate with staff at council in your language. To request an interpreter, simply call 92401111 and ask one of our customer service staff to organize one for you. You can also request an interpreter at one of our customer service centers, libraries, or maternal and child health centers. At Merri-bek, we're proud of our diverse community and we want to make sure everyone can access our services. For more information about our language services, please visit our website.
Wheel Sisters came about after some women in Fawkner approached us, wanting to learn to ride bikes and also find other women from their own community to ride with, including women who might ride in hijab or in abaya. One of the things that never gets old when you teach people to ride bikes is the sheer thrill they get when they realise they can do it.
The really special thing about teaching both the women in Fawkner and the women here is just the cultural barriers that they face every day, and coming from a place where they never thought they'd ever be able to ride a bike. A lot of them do reflect that it's been their lifelong dream to ride a bike, but they never thought they'd be able to do it. So it's just that extra level of being able to gift that to somebody.
I got really excited when I heard about this program. I'm almost 40 and I've never ridden a bike. I tried when I was little. Yeah, I still can't believe that I can ride, and yeah, it's been a dream and I'm so glad that it came true.
It was excellent, very special experience for me because it was my childhood wish to learn how to ride a bike.
Yeah, my experience was great because I've never ridden the bike before. So it was like truly empowering for me. And I thought I can't ever learn, but Kaz was really patient and encouraging.
At this age, it's a really courageous thing to learn new things. And any age, anyone can do it if they want it. And willingness is the most important things, and that's I prove myself.
I think it's good health-wise as well as environmentally. It gives me some physical activity to incorporate into my daily routine. I think it was great to find other people like me who have recently learned to ride, and we are all well connected now. Yeah, after so many years, I'm very grateful to have this opportunity and have Cass and Faith with us, and they've been amazing teachers. Everybody should give it a go and see for themselves how easy it is. Yeah, because I never thought I could, and I'm able to do it now.
Merri-bek as an organisation has a culture of pushing for better outcomes for the environment and really strong on sustainability. Part of that is adapting our infrastructure in the face of climate change. To do that, we need to test things. We need to work together with others in the industry to look at better and different ways of doing things. And that's what this trial is all about. This project has been a collaboration between Melbourne Water, Merri-bek City Council, the University of Melbourne, and then we've been working with Porous Lane, who have been coming up with new permeable pavement technologies which have been adapted for this permeable curb and channel.
Porous Lane is a unique material developed out of research at the University of Melbourne. It's comprised of approximately 50% recycled tyre, all sourced from Australia, and in this case the tyres were sourced from here in Victoria. It's a unique material in that it has a very high permeability. It infiltrates water at approximately 8 times the guideline that we use, international guideline, and so it's really effective at getting water off the road.
So this is a permeable curb and channel. The idea is that when it's raining, water will fall on what we call our catchment, so the street here in front of us, and it moves through this permeable material. Behind the permeable material, we've got this structural soil trench, and that's what the tree roots will actually grow in. So the water can move through and it can irrigate these recently planted trees. This is great for trying to get the trees to grow more so they suffer less drought stress, but also great in terms of reducing the amount of stormwater runoff that's eventually making its way down to the drainage pit and then into the nearest urban waterway, which can cause issues there. So you can see that the water doesn't move in immediately. It takes a little bit of time before it finally infiltrates through the curb, but we've dumped a lot of water.
Good evening, councillors, members of the gallery, and to our viewers live streaming tonight's meeting. My name is Councillor Nadabood. Can you hear me, Nick? No sound out there? Got it now. And I'm the Mayor of the Merri-bek City Council and the Chairperson for tonight's Council meeting for planning and related matters. It's my great pleasure to welcome you to tonight's meeting. We are meeting on the lands of the Wurundjeri Woiwurrung people, and we wish to acknowledge them as the traditional custodians of these lands and waterways, and would also like to pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging, as well as to all First Nations communities who significantly contribute to the life of the city. This council meeting is being recorded and web streamed live to council's website and YouTube. The recording will also be available as video on demand, and attendees are advised that they will be recorded during the meeting. A reminder that as councillors we will act in accordance with the Councillor Code of Conduct, which will support the principles of leadership and good governance that secures public confidence in the office of councillor. In the event of an emergency or disruption, we may be required to take action to ensure the safety of attendees. For members of the gallery and councillors attending in person, please follow the directions issued by council staff and security officers. Thank you for your understanding and cooperation. I'd like to introduce the other councillors in attendance tonight. Councillor Helen Davidson, the Deputy Mayor.
Good evening, everyone.
Councillor Sue Bolton. Hi, everybody. Councillor Liz Irvin.
Hi, everyone.
Councillor Dr. Jay Iwasaki.
Hi, everyone.
Councillor Chris Miles.
Evening.
And Councillor Oscar Yildiz. And the following councillors have been approved to attend tonight's meeting via electronic means, and I'd like to welcome Councillor Helen Politis. Good evening, everyone. And Councillor Alice Svensson.
Evening.
And I do believe that Councillor Pulford is about to join us. I've also had an apology from Councillor Kat Theodosis. So I'll move on to disclosures of conflicts of interest. Councillors, are there any conflicts of interest to declare? Nope. No. Thanks, Sue. I'd like to move on to the confirmation of minutes of previous meetings. Councillors, could I have a motion for the confirmation of the minutes of the council meeting for planning and related matters held on the 25th of March 2025? Councillor Davidson and a seconder, Councillor Miles. I'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Declare that carried. Do we have Councillor Pulford? Not yet. All right. Hopefully he'll show up. Before we move on to the reports for consideration, I will outline how this council meeting for planning and related matters will run this evening. For the item in relation to a planning permit application, first, the relevant planner will introduce the report and the officer's recommendations, and then I will give objectors and supporters the opportunity to make their submissions. After this time, the applicant will be given the opportunity to speak. If you are making a submission, please clearly state your name for the record. You are requested to present viewpoints clearly and concisely on why you oppose or support the planning application. Please do not repeat what earlier speakers have said and keep the discussion focused on relevant issues and points not previously raised. If you are opposed to the planning application, would you please inform the meeting why you're opposed and suggest an alternative approach which would satisfy your concerns. Please use this opportunity to focus on your concerns rather than matters of detail in the officer's report. Please note that there is a limit of 3 minutes for each speaker and the permit applicant, but as chairperson, I reserve the right to increase or reduce the time available to any speakers. So we'll now move to the presentation of reports, and we have one report this evening, 5.1, MIN 2025/7, PA 2504091, which is 50 to 52 Bree Street and 655 to 661 Sydney Road, Brunswick. Does any councillor have a conflict of interest to declare? No. I will ask Rob Wallace, the Principal Urban Planner, to present the report. Thanks, Rob.
Good evening, councillors, members of the gallery. The matter before you relates to a ministerial planning application to use and develop the land at 50 to 52 Bree Street and 655 to 661 Sydney Road in Brunswick for 43 townhouses, including 5 affordable dwellings. The application is at the decision-making stage, with the Department of Transport and Planning set to decide on the application. The subject site has been consolidated and is formed of several allotments of land, including the former Brunswick Market building site on Sydney Road. The portion of land affected by this application is located to the rear of the Brunswick Market building, which is highlighted in green. It has an area of approximately 2,300 square metres, which is larger than nearby sites. The surrounding area is changing to a mid-rise character, with newer buildings generally between 6 and 9 stories in height. The site is located near public transport with access to the Upfield train line and trams along Sydney Road. The site is located within the Commercial 1 zone and forms part of the Brunswick Activity Centre. The purpose of the Commercial 1 zone is to create vibrant mixed-use commercial centres and to provide for residential uses at densities complementary to the role and scale of the commercial centre. The other key planning control for the site is the Design and Development Overlay Schedule 18, which sets out preferred built form objectives for the site. There are various other controls to the site, including a heritage overlay, which applies to the former Brunswick Market building, which is not affected by this application. This planning application is being determined by the Minister for Planning. Council has been asked to inform the Minister of its formal view of the proposal. The application is exempt from third-party appeal rights, meaning that the Minister's decision cannot be appealed at VCAT. The land is a key site within the Brunswick Activity Centre, and the delivery of significant housing growth and economic activity is encouraged in this location. The DDO 18 sets out a preferred maximum building height of 17 metres, around 5 or 6 stories for the site. It encourages ground floor commercial offerings on Florence Street and identifies the need to improve pedestrian amenity. New planning controls for the Brunswick Activity Centre have been recently announced by the Victorian State Government. These controls increase the preferred building height to 12 stories for this site. The proposal before you benefits from transitional provisions from these changes, which mean that the objectives of the design and development overlay continue to apply to the proposal. Apologies, bear with me. The proposal itself comprises 43 townhouse-style dwellings. 38 of these dwellings accommodate 4 bedrooms and a triple story. The remaining 5 dwellings are single-bedroom dwellings proposed to be affordable. No dedicated residential car parking is proposed within the development. The proposal instead relies on 1 car share space and 78 on-site bike parking spaces. The proposal is wholly residential with no commercial offering. The development does achieve minimum standards in environmentally sustainable design. The Department of Transport and Planning has carried out public notice for the application. We have been told that 5 objections have been received to date, which are shown in red on the image on the screen. Key considerations for Council this evening relating to the proposal are strategic policy, built form, internal amenity, affordable housing offerings, and the reduction of on-site car parking. To that end, it is recommended that Council's submission to the Department of Transport and Planning be one of no support for the proposal. Should DTP be inclined to issue a permit, it is recommended that Council provide a set of without prejudice conditions to seek improvements to the proposal. These conditions would include a public works plan that explores public relevant improvements along all frontages, delivering on footpath widening and street tree planting. Conditions would seek an improvement in open space offerings within the site, improvements to the affordable housing provision, and the provision of 20 additional bike parking spaces within the development. Thank you.
Can you put your microphone on, please?
Sorry, thank you. So I said initially thanks to Rob, and then we don't have anyone listed to speak on the matter, but is there anyone in attendance in the gallery who would like to address Council on the application? Nick Dolby, would you like to join us? Hello, Nick.
Hello. Nick Dolby, West Brunswick. I know this site very well. I used to shop every week at Russell's Greengrocers. I used Tocci's Japanese Cafe. I used a couple of delis on the site. I've also extensively used Barusu, which is directly opposite this site in Sydney Road. I'm wanting to speak on 2 issues around this site. The first one is pedestrian access. The footpaths next to this site are extremely narrow. They were built at a time when you weren't expected to walk around the site, you were expected to walk into the site as a member of public and walk around inside the site. The footpaths are so narrow, it would be difficult for people in prams and wheelchairs to manoeuvre around these footpaths at present. Yes, I would certainly recommend widening the footpaths. The housing provision, the affordable housing provision, I am disgusted that the Victorian State Minister has proposed that this be exempt from planning provisions on the grounds that it has 5 bedrooms of affordable housing. Out of what? 160, 170 bedrooms of non-affordable housing, it has 5 affordable housing. This is not an affordable housing provision. This is the steam off your urine in the desert. It is a totally bollocks proposal, and I urge Council to recommend non-approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Okay, are there any other people in the gallery, attendees in the gallery, who would like to address Council on the application? No, okay. So councillors, if I could please have a motion. Councillor Iwasaki and Councillor Irvin. Councillor Iwasaki, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, I support the officer's recommendations and the impassioned speech by our friend in the gallery for those reasons. I think one thing to clarify for the audience that I clarified to somebody who got in touch with me earlier is that we're not granting an application here. We're giving our feedback to the minister for their granting of a permit. So this is our feedback on Part A, what we how we feel about it, and Part B, what we would do to improve that application if the minister were inclined to grant that approval. So on that note, it's really positive to have that initial rejection as a part of that, but also the second part where there's been a lot of work into addressing the shortfalls that were outlined, and partially that were outlined by our speaker who is just here. So on that notice, yeah, this area, usually we talk about the character of an area, and in this case, it's actually the opposite of what the usual issues with the character of the area is. This is an area that is mid-rise and densifying next to a transport corridor. This is an area of Brunswick where warehouses were there and that need to be replaced with housing because we're in a housing crisis. One of the things that is beneficial about the area and the provisions that we would like to see is the commercial as well. That ground level activation is so important to a higher density neighborhood, and this doesn't achieve that and takes us actually a bit backwards by not activating the street fronts and all those on those streets. So the Part B that I think the officers have done a really good job on, I'll just speak to really quick. I think the public realm improvements are a really big deal, especially the footpaths, the open space for better conditions. Again, the affordable housing provisions are completely lackluster in comparison to what we really need to be seeing. And in recognition of the proximity to the upfield bike path, more bike parking, because that's how people in this area get around. So that's it from me. Yeah, I will be supporting the officer's recommendation.
Thank you,
for rejection.
Thank you, Councillor Iwasaki. Councillor Irvin, would you like to speak? Are there any councillors who would like to speak against the motion? And or other councillors who'd like to speak in support? Councillor Pulford, and then I'll get to you, Councillor Svensson.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I just want to say that this permit would be, to me, an underdevelopment of the area. It seems to not make great use of that site right in the heart of central Brunswick, so close to public transport like the Upfield line and the number 19 tram as well. When we see buildings of say 6 to 8 or 9 stories going up in that area, they are being home to a lot more people, providing homes to a lot more people, which is what's needed in the housing crisis, and it's what the state government's trying to achieve through their changes to activity centres. So I guess I'd be surprised if the minister approves this with her general moves and her government's general moves to be encouraging more homes in activity centres, particularly near public transport. And I just wanted to comment on the affordable housing offering as well. So they're suggesting that they will sell 5 of the 43 dwellings to a community housing provider for 18% below the market rate, which really isn't much of a reduction. Like, we're talking about townhouses in the heart of Brunswick. These are going to be expensive homes to live in if the minister approves this permit. And so I don't see a community housing provider prioritising purchasing these homes or being able to afford to even. So it doesn't seem clear that there is a community housing provider lined up. It's just that, oh, we'll sort it out later. But I think it's really important if the minister is going to be considering this based on affordable housing provision, that the offer is concrete. And it should be at least 30% discount from the market rate, not 18%. The other thing about these affordable homes is they are only 1 bedroom, whereas the other dwellings will be, I think, up to 4 bedrooms, and they'll look different from the rest of the townhouses. And that's just not great practice, because you don't necessarily want someone's home to scream whether they've accessed it through a community housing provider or not. So yeah, it's disappointing on a number of fronts there. It's not genuinely affordable offering, and it's also, I think, potentially creating issues for people who, if this all goes ahead, would move in there. So I'm happy that officers are recommending that the minister not approve this permit. And I understand that, given we often see the minister approve permits that are made straight to her, we've provided recommendations that if it is to be approved, these are the changes that we'd want to see that Councillor Iwasaki spoke to.
Thank you, Councillor Pulford. Councillor Svensson?
Councillor Pulford just made the comments that I was intending to make, so I certainly echo those, but nothing other to add.
Thank you so much. Are there other councillors who would like to speak? No. Okay, I'll put that to the vote then. All those in favour? Against? I declare that carried. Sure. Yeah, sure. Okay, sure. So Councillor Iwasaki has called a division so that Councillor Miles can be included in the vote. So I'll put that to the vote again. All those in favour? And I declare that carried unanimously. So I'll now ask the officer to outline the next steps. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Mayor. The Council has resolved to advise the Department of Transport and Planning that Part A, Council does not support the application at 50 to 52 Breeze Street and 655 to 661 Sydney Road, Brunswick, for the use and development of the land for 43 dwellings and a reduction in statutory car parking, subject to the grounds of objection contained within the recommendation. And Part B, Council requests that should a permit be issued by the Department of Transport and Planning, the without prejudice conditions contained within the recommendation be included on any decision.
Thanks so much, Rob. Councillors, we've come to the end of the meeting, so I'd like to thank those watching on the live stream and also in the gallery this evening for interest in council matters, and I'd like to wish you all a good night. And now I can declare the council meeting closed at 6:50. Thanks, everybody.